What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. I am your host, Justin Harold, and with me, as always, my co-host, Jeff Santa. Today, we are bringing you a Victory Friday
Let's go.
edition of the Cleveland Browns recap, coming off of a 29-17 win against division rivals Pittsburgh Steelers, moving the Browns to 2-1 and the Steelers to 1-2, getting a good, nice and early divisional win, a much needed divisional win because we know how important those will be going down the line. But yeah, a solid 29-17 win at home, the first win of the season at home, which is great. Yeah, Jeff, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling real good. Oh man, this episode, I got a good feeling about this episode. I'm gonna let you direct the ship, but you know me, I'm gonna be vocal.
Absolutely. Well, it was the first time that we've had a back-to-back 100-yard reception, and since it's the first time since 2013, since Josh Gordon, of
Mm-hmm.
all players, that we had a wide receiver have back-to-back 100-yard games along with a touchdown to go along with it. Amari Cooper, once again, looking like an absolute steal with that sixth-round pick that we gave up for him. Honestly, the more you look at that, and it's like people were upset that his contract was still a fully guaranteed contract and all that. Not fully guaranteed, but we were going to pay
20
him
million.
20
Yeah.
million and whatnot. I'm sure you saw the tweet too, but he's what we wanted Odell to be, and
Sure.
sometimes what Jarvis was, but not after a back-to-back game like that. So good to see that. Nice to see that on Thursday night, and also Njoku finally coming alive and getting 9 receptions
Right.
for 89 yards and a solid touchdown.
I'm gonna. Here's my first hot take of the episode. Through 3 weeks, not on paper, because I know this is going to be misconstrued. I could already hear people, and get in the comments right now if you wanna start roasting me. Start typing your comment. Not on paper, not as far as the analytics, not as far as whoever the experts are. From my point of view, through the first 3 weeks, from my eye test, watching a lot of football, the Browns have a top 5 offense in the league. I'm throwing it out there. You got the best running back duo in the league. You got one of the best offensive line play in the league. And just the rest of the field is really not impressive. I'll give you my top 5. Maybe they're 6th. I'll concede to 6th. I got the Bills at 1, obviously. I got the Chiefs at 2. I think you could put the Dolphins ahead of us. I think you could put the Rams ahead of us. And I think if you want to argue it, you could bump the Chargers right ahead of us at 5. Maybe we're 6. Maybe we're 5. Brissett doesn't turn the ball over. He has 4 touchdowns. He doesn't even make throws that are like, that's a stupid throw. He had one bad throw last night, and it was the ball that hit the defensive back right in the back. That was the only bad ball. He's making jump throws, and for first downs that should be caught. He's executing on the home run balls that Kevin's cooking up on the 3rd and 1. Beautiful, by the way. I got this offense at least in the top 10 if you want to roast me in the comments, but I'm saying 5 or 6.
Top 10.
Nobody else is impressing me. Denver doesn't look very good. The Bengals don't look very good. Scratch that. Put Baltimore where I said the Rams, and then put us behind there. I think Baltimore probably has better offense than us. But I'm saying top 10.
So you said the Dolphins, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Ravens, and who else did you say? You said one more team.
I said right? If you wanted to argue the Chargers.
The Rams, right? You said the Rams.
I think we're comparable to the Rams. We got a better run game than the Rams. We got a better running game than the Chargers. We have the Ravens are always going to have, good running attack because of Lamar. But as far as their running backs, we have way better running backs than them.
I'm going to say the Eagles are in front of us. I'm going to say the 49ers are ahead of us.
No way. No way.
Absolutely.
Maybe with Jimmy G, but I'm saying the first 3 weeks. The first 3 weeks of this season. Not on paper, not preseason, not going forward. I'm just saying
through 3 weeks of play.
Yes.
Right. Well, we'll have to see how the other teams perform.
Correct.
And all that, but I don't think it's an outrageous take, mainly because you do have a lot of moving pieces going on in the first 2 weeks. I feel like that's my fantasy team, mostly speaking. But a lot of teams, yeah, have looked lackluster. To your point, yeah, I think obviously offensive line top five, running backs, running back top three, and then you can argue. I feel like Kareem is a top 10 running back. I'll probably die on that hill. Top 15 at worst. Um,
And with
and
Brissett
and
not turning the ball over and not taking dumb sacks, that puts us in to be able to compete for, top 10. I'm just saying eye test.
yeah, no, and it's quite literally, him just doing his job, doing exactly what he needs to do to get the job done. Um, yeah, I don't think that's too outrageous through 3 weeks of play. I'm sure, once we get into the harder part of that season for us, that stretch after next week's game, we'll really see what the offense is made about, because I'm still not a huge fan of it. Obviously, it's just a passing game as of right now, but it doesn't need to be anything more than it has been because of the way we've been able to manage games. And that's just about it.
I just want to know from you, what in specific are you not enjoying about the passing game? I am close to loving almost every aspect of it. If you could get Njoku and Amari like last night, I'm going to love it all year. Is that going to happen? Probably not. But I mean, what? Njoku, 9 targets, 8 receptions. Amari, 11 targets, 8-9 receptions. Like, just stay efficient, stay on time, and stay on plan.
Yeah, it's just convenient. It's just convenient passing offense is what it is, and it's convenient because your run game is so good. When you're rushing Nick Chubb for 100 yards, I know you have that stat somewhere about like when he gets over 100 yards, we like win probably like 80% of games, 70% of games, or whatever.
Yep.
But it's a matter of we've played 3 mediocre to bottom tier teams.
Correct.
And we've had the lead in the majority of them. And if we haven't had the lead, we've had, less than a score or a score deficit. And it compounds with just the matter of, hey, does it need to be anything flashier than what it has been? I think, the best play that I've seen, the best, play that we've seen passing wise was last night with Amari, streaking down right side of the field. I don't know what you call that. It's not necessarily a fade because he's not going straight to the end zone, but he's running across the middle of the field and everything. And that's probably the deepest ball that Jacoby's thrown all year so far.
It was good. It was a good ball. Good.
Yeah, and that's, as of right now, that's all you need. But my biggest thing will just be when you get to that Chargers game, when you get to that stretch of games where you're not playing just mediocre teams. I'll be truthfully honest, watching the Steelers try to run a 2-minute drill where, like, I don't know what they were doing. They just completely didn't want to go get points on the board before halftime.
No.
And it was the weirdest thing to me. I'd never seen Tomlin just
the last play of the first half, I felt like was they were totally gave up. They ran Mitch all the way out to the side, and then
they wasted so much time and didn't get anything out of it. I was very confused by that, but it's not even an issue. It's a matter of when it comes time, will the passing offense step up? It hasn't really needed to step up is my thing, and that's fine. We're 2-1. You can't really blame the loss on the offense from last week.
Right.
I don't think if I came across as the offense was an issue last week, it really wasn't. It was just more me bitching about Kevin as a head coach in general than his offense. But it's just a matter of all right, teams aren't going to let Nick Chubb get 100 yards every game. We just know that's a matter of fact. And so when that happens, what's the passing offense going to look like? So,
I mean, I totally agree with you. My biggest fear is that the running game gets shut down. And then I agree with you. If we are in passing for sure situations against the competent defensive coordinator, that could get ugly. It just hasn't yet. You got to understand this was a team that went into Cincinnati. Sure, they had TJ Watt, but they've already beaten Cincinnati on the road. Yeah. So it's not like they're terrible. I mean, they don't look great. It's not the Steelers with Big Ben. Obviously, it's so nice to not see him in a Steelers uniform, of course. But it's like last night, Jacoby, He hits Njoku with a nice ball in the end zone. He hits Amari on that nice ball. And it's the refreshing aspect of the offense is that I have confidence in the red zone again. I'm like, we're in the red zone. We're going to put up 6 here. There's a good chance. And Stefanski's not going to lean on York, even though we drafted him. I'm okay with leaning away with him on manageable fourths. If it's 4th and 3 or longer, maybe we put him into kick. But if it's swirl and win like last night, I don't know. You got to kind of weigh the options, regardless of if it's the best kicker in the league or whatever.
You know what? The one thing I'll give Jacoby is he's probably the best quarterback sneaker in the league.
He's easily the best quarterback sneaker in the league.
He's probably the best quarterback.
4th and 1s are automatic. I'm like, here we go. Here they keep bringing up the stat though on the broadcast. I'm like, they're going to jinx it eventually. We never had that last year. We couldn't quarterback sneak. I always thought that the ball was going to come out if we tried something like that, or that we were going to have an injury. And, we kind of have more versatility somehow with this offense. It's almost crazy to think.
It's interesting how he does it because he doesn't go low. He gets stands up.
He
almost.
Moves around tactically.
Yeah, it's honest. It was honestly so funny to watch this week in person. But yeah, I mean, just not to stick on the offense for too long because I feel like we definitely need to get to the defense and talk about some of the stuff that's going on there with news and how they played last night. It's, we all knew what it was coming into the season. We needed to survive for 11 weeks. We needed to, float, tread water and all that so that once Watson got back, who knows what this passing offense is going to look like. Maybe we get a glimpse of it if we are down 2 scores or whatever in a game. But, when this offense could be completely different when Watson comes back, you could actually have lots of sets with Kareem and Nick. I would love a pistol set, honestly. Like if we ran something similar to what San Francisco has done in the past, and like pistol sets and stuff like that. But regardless of all that, we get Atlanta next week, who, again, a team we should beat, a team we should probably get out to a lead against and just do what we've always done. But then you get into that stretch of games where the Chargers are no joke. We know that from last year. They're coming here, thankfully. Hopefully the trip screws with them a little bit, but we know they can put up points in a hurry. And then you go on a stretch of games where all those teams are they're either well coached or they're very talented, or they're both. And that's a scary thought just for me right now, knowing that this is a passing league. You see some of the teams that are top echelon teams, Super Bowl teams, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Chargers, they're passing first teams. So we'll see how that works out for our favor. But that's just my biggest critique right now is what will this passing offense look like in different scenarios.
And before we go on to the defense, before we switch gears, for someone who I've taken a metaphorical bullet for as far as sports takes, once again, shout out Kevin Stefanski. 11-3 coming off of losses. We were so good coming off of losses. That's so important, not dropping 2-3 games in a row, even though I believe we did last year once or twice, maybe.
The Cardinals game, there was the game before the Cardinals game, right?
But we seem to at least get, a win when we need to, which is awesome to see. Like we kind of needed to win this game. Good to see. Yeah. You've already stated it. He schemed up a back-to-back 100-yard receiver in Amari Cooper with a touchdown. Hasn't happened in almost a decade. And the first head coach or interim coach since 1999 to have 3 recorded W's against the Steelers. Great job last night. Nearly perfect in all aspects, I thought.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Called a very good game. I thought that the clock management from the Steelers side was just so poor. Like it was baffling because I thought there were pointed times when they had the ball and they could have milked clock, do what we do a little bit. And I guess like Trubisky has just, I don't know what he did in Buffalo, but I thought he would have been a lot better. I thought he would have been like a Jameis Winston sitting behind a Drew Brees where like you come back and you play better than what you left, but who knows?
It's so funny to me because all the sports radio around these parts saying fire Matt Canada, the small 4-quarter sample size that I've seen, I actually agree because I felt like when he called plays that was like they were attacking downfield. Now he was making like perfect balls on some of them that he might not be able to replicate. But like they executed plays down the field, down the seams where like I felt like if they would have called more of them against our defense, they would have been in shape, and they just weren't. They're calling these run plays, they're calling these screen plays, and I don't know. It's not like Trubisky's a stud, but you had completions to George Pickens. You had some decent balls to Freiermuth in the fourth quarter. Like, where was more of that was my issue with their offense. But credit to the defense as we switch over. Great second half from them. I think as an expectation standpoint, I could live with giving up points in the first half and being stingy in the second half. How about yourself?
Yeah, so I don't know why that comment brought up. I know why the comment brought up the one thing. The second thing is really funny. I think you'll get a laugh out of it. But the first thing is, man, people are so out of pocket at games, at prime
Especially
time
prime
games.
time. Yeah, that's what
Dude,
my parents went. I'm like, you better brace yourself. It's not they were like they haven't been to a Browns game in like forever. And I'm like, it is nothing like going to the Cavs or Guardians. It is nothing even close.
No, it's a completely different atmosphere. But some Steelers fan behind me must have been like out of his mind, drunk or high. He said Mike Tomlin should have been fired 8 years ago, legitimately. I like my
They
dad.
reference his playoff record. They're like, oh, his playoff record sucks. They're so criminal with takes on Mike Tomlin. It's crazy.
Lord, my dad like turned around and gave him the eye, and I just shook my head. I was like, I can't believe they're saying this. I'm like, that's just nuts. Though. Second thing, really, honestly, it was a scary thing in the moment. Some dude fell on top of me and the guy next to me, and the dude next to me had to. We jumped rows. We literally jumped, and the row in front of us, no one in front of us. He jumps right, I jump left. I pat my dad on the back because I'm just letting him know, like, hey, I'm falling, and I fall, I jump, and I land on like a Watson dude, but I land like this, like I went like this, and
What the little rowdy up there.
dude, it was nuts though, but it was one of those things where I've never had that happen to me before. But the instant I felt him like falling on me, I tapped my dad because I'm like, man, if he fucking falls, this is gonna be bad. And I tap him and I'm letting him know, I'm like, I'm gone. I'll see you later. And he's like, what the fuck? And he looks over and this dude's on the floor next to him.
It's totally different in prime time. No, literally, this kid I went to college.
You can't give Browns fans or whoever it is that
they're
night
tailgating all day. They're tailgating all day. One of my buddies who I went to college with, he's there. He was like calling me. He's like, I'm here. He's a Steelers fan. He's like, I'm here in a Minka jersey. He's like, am I gonna make it out of here? And I was like, I literally told him, I was like, if you're not close to the dog pound, you should be fine. If you're anywhere near there, just avoid that end zone and you'll be all right.
Yeah, just don't be, the typical thing. Just don't be too like obnoxious, and you'll be fine. But, anyways, getting back to the game and transitioning over to the defense. So obviously, they allowed 14 points in the first half. I believe they allowed a field goal in the second half. But the one thing that you said right away, giving points up in the first half, but finally being able to do the one thing that we've been asking for whoever knows how long, is making second half adjustments. Now, unfortunately, the one big note that we have to make is Anthony Walker out for the year with a apparent quad injury. I think they said it was a ruptured quad or something like that.
Torn? I don't even know.
They had to air cast him. I thought it was his neck for some reason until they put the air cast on him and everything. But the starting middle linebacker out. JOK out with an injury. He was questionable to come back, but who knows what that means for our linebacking core, as it's now led by Jacob Phillips, who we knew ahead of time was going to get a lot of playing time according to reports. And we know that for a fact the middle linebacker has been the green dot. So hopefully, again, terrible thing what happened to Anthony Walker, but hopefully the one good thing that can come out of this is some consistency with the green dot, with who's calling plays and everything. But Jeff, what did you like about the defense last night outside of them being able to get a little stingy in the second half?
I'll keep it relatively quick with bullet points. Jacob Phillips, hell of a game.
Yeah.
And this is terrible to say, but me and you have seen it literally live, and we've even predicted it, like you said before this game. Injuries, you never want to see injuries. But when a unit is not performing, sometimes getting new faces shuffled in there is this weird light the fire under your ass and let's go to work. I thought that Taven Bryan got hurt, Walker got hurt, and JOK got hurt. And I'm like, okay, the normal reaction is we're screwed. I thought Winfrey was serviceable. I thought Phillips was great. I thought Tony Fields made some impact plays. I thought JJ3, besides getting ran over into the end zone by Najee, played okay. Delpit didn't make any huge mistakes. I don't know what's wrong with Denzel. He grades terribly. He has good plays and bad plays, like really good plays or really bad plays. And another week in a row, Myles Garrett is disappointing. So
he was way more than just disappointing.
He's gonna grade good though because he disrupts the throwing arm, he disrupts the pocket. He's always going to grade good, but it's like, do you need the help? Like Aaron Donald doesn't need the help. TJ Watt doesn't need the help. I feel like you need the help, fam. Show me you don't need the help and go off for 2.5 free sacks without Clowney in there. Alex Wright, I guess. I mean, who else is? Rochelle had a couple of tackles. Like, piece it together, however you want to piece it together. But it ended up being okay. I still feel like teams move the ball, especially in these 2-minute warnings or like when I feel like as soon as
always hate when it gets to like the 2-minute warning or to the point of like, oh, a game is 5 minutes left and the other team needs to go get points.
I just wish our defense had reverse urgency. Like the first drive of the game, we are absolutely swarming, beautiful. And then as soon as we score, it's like, we're nervous. As soon as we score, defense is nervous. And then when they need to move the ball in 90 seconds, it's like 20 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards. They're in field goal range. I'm like, what has happened?
Yeah. My only thing that I'll say about, you hit all the points on the head, in my opinion. The defensive line is so astronomically poor. They're in debt. Like they're literally in debt. I watched Alex Wright. Listen, he's a rookie. He'll probably learn and everything. He looked very bad in all
especially if their line is not supposed to be good. The Jets line had injuries. Like that's what's startling.
And that's my problem with Myles is I understand he's getting the tight end, but like you said, like TJ Watt, Aaron Donald, Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, Khalil Mack, like all these dudes, like, listen, they're premier guys. These are defensive player of the year guys, and they all have to. Granted, I watched Myles absolutely demolish some dude in one play. He absolutely sent some
ran him over,
but
he doesn't get home. It's like, and I get it. I'll concede to good coaching. Defensive minded Saleh is gonna scheme to him, and Tomlin is gonna have his guys coached. Their running backs blocked extremely well in the backfield. Their tight ends were chipping us all night, and they got rid of the ball quick. It's like.
Yeah.
But what worries me is that the quarterbacks who don't get rid of the ball quick are fast enough to get away from him. Myles, Herbert,
and Trubisky still got away from us at points.
Yeah, he's serviceable as an athlete.
Oh boy, the getting home part is so awful as a Browns fan. I've never seen so many bodies like on top of a quarterback and the quarterback not go down. It's one of the worst, and that's on the players. It's straight up like dudes aren't either getting low or chopping their feet or whatever. They want to go absolutely blow some dude up, and they end up just completely whiffing on some of those plays. Or they end up like Jacob Phillips and flip head over heels. So that was
crazy.
And then the special teams still looks awful. 3 years in. That's the problem. That's my only problem with like conceding at like outside of what he does on the offensive side of the ball and how he gets the team prepared, like how 3 years in, how are the hands team, the punt returning, the kick returning, and I understand with the punt returning and kick returning, we've brought dudes in, I think, each year. JoJo Natson twice in a year or twice.
We've just had bad luck since Josh Cribbs. We haven't had anyone serviceable.
Yeah, but God, the hands team.
Chester Rogers was okay as far as doing his job.
Right. But like, my Christ, can we just go towards the football? Do they realize if you get the ball, if you touch the ball before it passes 10 yards, they can't get it?
I don't think they know the rules. I don't think they're lined up properly. I think everybody looks to block and they're blocking wrong. Nobody even looks toward the football. It's like, oh, let me find a man and block. Somebody has to go to the football.
Yeah, we're still at the point where we have not played, and again, 3 games into the season, obviously some things will be learned and adapted upon. But man, we need to we need to clean it up for we have a nice long break before next week before we go play in a dome. So we got to clean things up still. This team they're right where they're supposed to be. Would we like to be 3-0? Yeah, absolutely, of course. But 2-1, you pick up the division win, which, if you looked at the 4 games and you were like, we're going to drop one of these games, you probably would have said ahead of time it was probably going to be the Steelers. I mean, I don't know that anyone was looking at the Jets. Maybe Carolina is maybe with the storyline and whatnot. I could have gone behind that just because of the NFL and how they work and whatnot. But Atlanta, don't think we're going to come close to dropping that game. Didn't think with the Jets, but
it's going to be a tough game. Every game's going to be tough. I'm convinced.
Yeah, that's what someone was saying near us last night. Is like the way we're playing the game right now is like the last 5 minutes of every game is going to look like I don't know what did he say? He said something that was actually pretty good, but it was just like it's going to be 20 minutes in the last 5 minutes and whatnot. But
and that's fine if that keeps us competitive with good teams. That's fine. If that doesn't keep us competitive with good teams, that's a little bit of an issue because you're kind of playing not to lose. I would like to play to win, but if Roger Goodell was like, "Hey, shake my hand," and the Browns are 2-1 after 3 weeks, nobody's thinking twice about that. It's just unfortunate that everybody in the fan base knows we should be 3-0.
Yeah.
Last thing, I hope he keeps it up because I don't want to jinx the man. It's really nice having a punter who's competent.
Yeah.
Borkaz alone could have us 3-0.
Where did he come from?
I think Green Bay cut him or something. I don't know. He's a study, but puts him in between the 5 or behind the 5-yard line a lot. And I'm loving it. He had that one block last night. We got to get rid of the football, but that's Steelers football being coached like that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everyone. Well, unless Jeff's got anything else to say,
nope.
I think we're going to wrap this one up. Make sure you guys leave a comment, subscribe. What do you guys think about being 2-1, beating the Steelers at home on Thursday Night Football? Gotta love getting the primetime win, not 5-0, but what was that stat line, Jeff? Do you remember? Did you see that this morning?
I think we are 5-0 in the last 5 Thursday night games.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. Hopefully we get more of those Thursday night primetime games in the future, but let us know what you guys are thinking. Let us know what you guys are hoping for in the next game, what we should be taking a look at with, injuries and whatnot, who we might be getting back. But with that all being said, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.